anchor reporter of Sportsnet New York, Doug Williams, here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Doug?
I'm well, Rich. Thanks for having me on, man.
Oh, come on. I love it. So what was your impressions of Woody Johnson's press conference today, Doug?
Honestly, I thought he was honest. He was forthright. He was convincing. And what's funny is that he's learned from his mistakes. As corny as that sounds, I think Jets fans were encouraged by what he said. It was almost as if it was like, yeah, we did have a two-year plan that was still in action. That's why we didn't spend all the money. But he basically said about Idzik, you know, I know that this was all part of a 5-10-year plan, but the fact that we were 4-12, we had to move on. And it was a black and white decision. And clearly the next guy has to be a draft guy, a guy who can draft a little better than John Idzik did. He made 12 draft picks in 2014, and only really 2 of them had prominent roles at all. I think only 1 started in week 17. So it was not a good draft class. They need a football guy who can go and scout and really knows what he's doing.
So, Doug, you think there's some Jet fans who heard this and are hanging their hat with Woody and saying that he's going to get this right 2 years after he got these guys together and needed to hit the reset button?
I think anything would be an improvement in the minds of Jets fans from the John Idzik we heard from in his midseason press conference where, you know, he didn't really talk to fans. He read to fans, and it's gotten pretty bad at this point, Rich, as you very well know. And I think Jets fans at the very least will know that it would be a big mistake on Woody Johnson's part to go out and hire another kind of salary cap guy instead of a football guy. At the very least, Woody Johnson will go out, I think, and hire somebody who can scout in college and really make a consequence out of next year's draft.
Doug Williams of Sportsnet New York joining me here right now. So where do you think the Jets are going to go coach-wise? What are you hearing about their search as it currently stands now that we're just a couple of hours into it, Doug?
You know, it's hard to say. Rex Ryan is a very difficult guy to replace because there are definitely guys that are better at the X's and O's than he is, especially on the offensive side. But as you know, Rex was a guy's guy. The players loved playing for him because, you know, he shot them straight. He was just a really kind of cool uncle type guy. And they're not going to be able to hire a guy like that again. And maybe the Jets organization doesn't want to. But Jets fans are probably not thrilled that the person of Rex Ryan isn't coaching their team anymore because they knew that he really pumped that team up. The players really respected him. But in terms of a replacement, you know, it's really hard to say. You know, you look at a name like Josh McDaniels, obviously the Pats offensive coordinator. He's a guy who's had a long tenure in the NFL. Mike Shanahan, obviously his resume speaks for itself. He's without a job, 2-time Super Bowl champ. And maybe Todd Bowles, the guy who a lot of guys want, Cardinals defensive coordinator. So there are a lot of names out there. I think it's really early to predict who could maybe replace him at this point, but it's going to be a very different personality than Rex Ryan, that's for sure.
Are you saying, Doug, you have an uncle like Rex Ryan in your family? Is that what you're basically saying?
I wish I did, but everyone's got that cool uncle, right?
Yes.
He's not that authoritative figure. That's my point. It's like he's much more of that cool uncle guy, the guy who was a great quote for the New York media. Fans and media alike don't usually agree on things, and they did on the fact that Rex Ryan was a good guy to watch and a good guy to cover.
So what do you make also, I'm with Doug Williams of Sportsnet New York, Geno's farewell performance for Rex with a perfect passer rating of all the things to do. I know, you just have to laugh about it in a way and let your smile be your umbrella in that regard. And will the next GM and coach hitch their wagon to Geno, even though that is many reasons why Idzik and Rex are out of a job today?
Well, the first question you asked me was about Woody Johnson. I said he was honest in today's press conference. And if you believe everything he said, he was asked about Geno Smith, and he really said, I thought Geno did a good job. I have confidence in Geno. I believe those were his words. And it's almost like if you're a Jets fan, you've watched the same thing happen 2 years in a row where suddenly the Jets are out of contention, not relevant at all, and Geno Smith comes out and starts to play well. And I think Jets fans are actually worried when that happens. They're like, oh, no. They're going to think, again, that this guy can carry a franchise. And I think it's the Jets fans' worst nightmare that next season they have a new coach, a new GM, but the same quarterback, and he goes out and turns the football over for 10 weeks, and they're out of it again. But The problem is, Rich, they're really, other than maybe like a Jay Cutler, they go out and make a trade. There's not a lot of huge names in free agency. I think at the very least, I would predict that Geno Smith's success at the end of the season would buy him at least a competition going into camp next year.
A real competition, though, right? Not one that was essentially set up for...
Yeah, a real one that's not pre-decided and then, kind of...
And then called as if it was one. Hey, listen, Doug, at least look on the bright side. Now you can turn your attention to the Knicks, Doug,
Yeah, the Knicks are a fun team right now.
They're going great.
They had 8 players. They had 8 healthy players on the floor last night during a game.
How'd that work out for him, Doug? How'd that work out for him?
How do you think it worked out, Rich?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I'm assuming it flopped. I'm assuming that didn't work very well.
It did.
Oh, my Lord. New York fans, man. New York fans. It's just not much to hang your hat on right now.
Other than hockey, not really, no.
There we go. Hey, Doug, thanks for calling in. I look forward to the next time already.
Of course, Rich. Thanks for having me.
All right, brother. That's Doug Williams, at Doug Williams, SNY.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.